It looks like we're going to be getting a brand new Nintendo Switch Pro model coming out later this year. We're going to talk about that on the show right now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Assemble. Good morning. How are you? I'm Matt. Welcome to the show. How you doing? Brand new day. Today we're talking about what is going to be potentially unveiled as a brand new 4K Nintendo Switch Pro model coming out later this year. The current Nintendo Switch that we all have, that we've all been enjoying so much, is a 6.2-inch display that runs at 720p. And this is going to be quite a jump if we are going to be going to a 4K model of the Nintendo Switch, and presumably with a larger OLED display. So reported by Bloomberg, it's talking about how there is plans to have the unveiling of a brand new and production of a brand new Switch later in the summertime, and presumably then released into the fall and ready for, the October-November release window. And what they would be looking at is a 4K display when it is in docked mode, and it's standard with an OLED actual display on it. Presumably we'd be getting a 7-inch display Switch, and when we're docking it, we're going to be able to play all of our favorite titles in 4K. This is going to be very interesting. So what I want to know from all of you is, does this excite you, number one? Are you excited to be able to get your hands on a 4K, up-res OLED displayed Nintendo Switch, that when it is docked, you can actually boot that thing up and play Mario Kart in 4K. But here's my real question to you. Do you think that we would have to get all these patch updates for the existing title lineups? If I take Mario Kart, Mario World, and so on, am I gonna have to be able to then get everything patched? Is Nintendo gonna patch all of these titles? Or are they gonna go move in a direction of only having next gen titles be 4K compatible? We know that it is only going to be for the resolution in dock mode, and frankly, the way the Switch runs today with a 6.1-inch screen, 720p, for the main titles, I've always found it to be very pretty. I have no problems with the resolution at all, because just the way the games are built and designed, and just that heart and soul of Nintendo, it's not really what matters the most to me. What matters is the gameplay element. So having a brand new Switch that is going to run us at about 4K, I do wonder that main thing of, are these titles going to be having to get up-resed? Are we going to have to get them patched? Are they going to release a game like Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 as a 4K compatible title and then run things backwards compatible? I don't know. It's going to be very interesting, because what scares me a little bit with Nintendo always is that they're going to, charge a premium. Now, I assume that a Pro modeled Switch, obviously it would cost more to produce. It will cost more to the consumer once they put this thing out. And presumably we could see the new Pro model be, advertised for an extra $100 to $150. Knowing Nintendo, they'll always keep a premium price tag on that. But what worries me is that Nintendo would put a more premium price tag on future titles that are 4K enabled for the resolution. The other big thing that always scares me with Nintendo is that because we often get these re-releases from games from the Wii, the Wii U, Switch, all these ports, they just sell them again and again and again and again, and we all buy them. We all buy Mario Kart multiple times. We all buy these games and franchises time after time after time to have them on the latest Nintendo version. What scares me though is that Nintendo would then have to put out, or want to put out, a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe 4K version of the title and charge more for that. Or, and I want to know what you all think, do you think maybe they would do it as a free patch update, or do you think that they would go in the route of charging customers an additional fee to get the 4K up-res version of their existing games? I say that because I think Nintendo has it in them in the past to be able to charge as much as they want, whenever they want, to get it out of customers and their fan base, because they will tend to buy for the next title. And I would love to be able to try all of those kind of mainstream franchises of Nintendo and play them in 4K. But I wonder if they are going to just start servicing previous titles in their back catalog and try to get them up-resed a little bit, or we're going to have to see these games get fully redone. I don't know. I don't think that we would need to get a fully remastered Mario World in order for it to work. It's still on a Switch. It's still going to be the same game. We're just upping the resolution here. And when I look at a newer title like a Super Mario 3D World, is it going to really make that big of a difference? That's the other piece of this. If I get a new game, when we inevitably see a comparison of 3D World from the 720p 6.1-inch, our traditional Switch, to that of the Pro model, and we get those side-by-side comparisons, are we really going to see crazier textures and vibrancy? Are we really going to notice a giant difference? Because with those Nintendo games, to me, it's always going to be about how does a platform work? How is the gameplay mechanic? And is it tight? That's what she said. Now, as fans of any console, it's always exciting when we are going to get new tech and when we see Pro models coming out. The Switch has not been around for that long, but it is good to see that they are going to beef this thing up. And the other key piece that I hope we get some news on soon is that are they going to increase the battery life on the Pro model? You got to figure that because we're going to get a bigger display, that hopefully then it would mean that we're actually going to get a bigger battery built into this, and with an OLED display that will actually consume less battery too. So hopefully that with these little tweaks that we're actually going to be able to see a little bit more horsepower put behind this thing, and it's going to take it out to the end of the console generation for Nintendo with the Switch models. If this is all going to line up for the fall and for the winter and getting into next Christmas, what I really wonder is this going to line up with a new Breath of the Wild 2 and have them go kind of hand in hand? We can kind of see what the lineup for Nintendo is going to be almost for the rest of the year. We just had the Nintendo Direct and we had some good titles coming out, and then we just had some few little updates with it. But we're all kind of waiting for like Breath of the Wild 2 to be announced, and when is that game coming? I kind of wonder if they are going to hold things back a little bit and maybe bundle in Breath of the Wild 2 if it's ready to go with the new Pro model. Having that go hand in hand to be able to show it off, I think that's what fans would be looking for. And I think people that have held off on a Switch, that would get them to jump in as well, as to say, okay, now's the time. Now I can experience Zelda in 4K on my TV, and maybe they want to go in that direction. It's a wild jump to see from, you know, Nintendo's infancy, and we're going for like 8-bit games and we're going all the way up, and now they are finally catching up to modern games and titles and companies and manufacturers of getting 4K displays, which is something I really didn't think they would even go for in this generation. I always feel like Nintendo is kind of, you know, a cycle behind. Their online infrastructure is a little bit behind and a little dated when you compare it to that of Xbox or Sony. And I found that like they didn't really ever care that they were going to put out a higher resolution title or a higher resolution system, and I don't think that was ever really what mattered to them. But I'm curious to see what Nintendo is going to bring with a new OLED 4K Nintendo Switch Pro model, seeing if it comes out this fall. Are you all going to pick one up? If it's going to come out, is it going to be bundled with anything? Let me know in the comments below. Do you feel that this is going to be a good move for Nintendo going into the holiday season? And is there anything that you want to see them do with a Pro model outside of just having a bigger OLED display that will put out 4K? And does it matter to you at all, or are you totally comfy cozy with your nice little Switch there? Me too. I actually do like my Switch, but I'd be curious to see what they do with the Pro model. Folks, thank you so much for joining us here on Assemble. Appreciate all your support and your feedback. We are on our way to 1,000 subscribers, so do me a favor and hit that notification bell. Thumbs up if you enjoy the content, and consider subscribing. It's free to do that, and you can always unfollow later. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and as always, thank you guys for assembling with us. See ya.